We have even more information coming out regarding the Amazon layoffs yesterday, where all of the New World team is laid off, and how it's going to impact New World, Throne Liberty, Lost Ark, and so on. And this I'm gonna be covering everything. I did make a video yesterday talking about it, but now we have even more actual substantial information. So let's just jump into it. The first thing we gotta take a look at, we did not have this info yesterday when I made the video, but I kind of already talked about it. Either New World will go on autopilot or they will get sold to a different company. But they have confirmed right here that after this expansion that they just released, we made the Night Heaven release available for free. The game will not get any more content updates. So this is going to be the last big update, and it's going to probably keep the servers operating to 2026, which means that they will get shut down after 2026, most likely. The game is not gonna get any new updates or content. So if you're playing New World right now, the content you're seeing right now is the last of it, which is really sad because this update was massive, one of the best New World updates in newer times. So this is a really slap in the face because let's be real, guys, they knew about this before this expansion came out, right? They knew that this is gonna happen. Like, letting so many people let go is not something that happens overnight. It's a plan for it. So they knew about this. They got people into it. And then now they're shutting out the game. So that's absolutely insane to me. So for the people that are going to be wanting to play New World, you do have a chance to play it out after the expansion for a couple of months, but you don't look to get new updates. You're probably not going to get any bugs and patch fixes. If you do get it, they're going to be really slow. They basically don't have a dev team to help you out with New World. So people that are looking for New World, yes, if you want to test out New World, this will be your time. It'll be completely free. But overall, New World is kind of GG, which is super sad because I really love the game. I have thousands of hours in it. And seeing it get shut down like that and just slap when it was going to be doing so good. I actually said that I want to get back into New World if they keep this update up, and this happened. That's New World. And then we got to talk about the next big thing, which is Throne Liberty. Now, what does it mean for Throne Liberty and Lost Ark? Because Throne Liberty and Lost Ark are not developed by AGS, but they're published by AGS. And of course, they will not meet the same doom as New World, which means shutting down. They will actually be able to be playable because NCSoft develops Throne Liberty and Smilegate develops Lost Ark. However, this is the comment that we've gotten from Hefner, Brittany Hefner, Amazon spokesperson. They'll get new content updates for the foreseeable future. Now, what does that mean? Foreseeable future. That's a very vague word, and they use the vague word on purpose. So, as a publisher, you have, when you go into a contract with developers, your job is to publish the game globally because they don't have the investments. Like, for example, NCSoft don't have the contacts, investments, and they have to follow a certain law in EU and Western release. They will be able to provide servers. So, basically, what Amazon does for Lost Ark and Throne Liberty, I don't know the nitty gritty of the contracts, but is to maintain servers, follow their contracts, whatever they have agreed on, follow the laws of EU or NA, whatever it is, do translations, help with like small dev work, basically to make sure that the game works properly on the global release, and do marketing for the game, marketing campaigns, anything, and the communication, right? So there's a lot of stuff that Amazon basically still has to do for the game for it to do good. Now, when they say foreseeable future, now you guys have to remember what happened to World of Warcraft in China, because NetEase was the publisher, right, for World of Warcraft in China. When there was disagreements between NetEase and the developers, or Blizzard, the game was shut down in China, then later came back. So this is something that can happen for these games too. If Throne Liberty does not follow what is said on the contract, if they have promised a certain amount of money invested in marketing, because marketing is not going to be done by NCSoft or Smilegate in the global release, that's Amazon's job. Amazon has to put in enough money. If there's some agreement regarding, hey, you guys have to use this much amount of marketing promise, and Throne Liberty, AGS is like, we're not going to be spending any more money on these games, which they haven't, because we just got a massive expansion in Throne Liberty. There was barely any marketing done for the game, right? Most likely the next expansion, barely any marketing done. So they're not investing in these products. And NCSoft might be like, yo, you guys are not doing what the contract was agreed to. So we're going to cut it off, or we're going to stop communicating. Now, this is speculation, but this can happen. And what this also means is if they cut down on the AGS employees, which they are doing step by step, because now we got employees leaving for New World, all got laid off. A lot of Twitch employees got laid off. There's probably more waves of this coming. We don't know if anybody got laid off at Throne Liberty, but the people in the published team are not the core developers because they're not developing the game, but they definitely have a couple of developers, some probably directional managers, some community managers, Tico, for example, that communicates with us and communicates with them. But they do have a small amount of dev team. Now, if they get laid off, most likely what's going to happen is the communication between us and NCSoft will be, of course, less communication, less updates, less listening to us as a community, the global. And the game right now is caught up to Korea, which means that all the updates that Koreans are getting, we are getting too. But if the publishing side is there to make sure that we are also be able to get these updates, if the publishing side is lacking, what's going to happen is that we're most likely going to get slower updates. So when we get slower updates, which means if Korea is getting a big expansion update, most likely we're going to be getting it much later, and then much later, and then much later. This is just going to hoop up, right? So this is the main problem with them being publishers. Now, it's a good thing they're not the developers of these games, because that means they're not going to get shut down anytime soon. The only way that they get shut down is through a contract breach, or they don't want to, or NCSoft or whatever is not happy, and they can potentially swap publishers too. That's also a way to get away from AGS, but Throne Liberty and Lost Ark will survive for now. However, I don't think when they say this, I think Lost Ark and Throne Liberty is going to survive until the foreseeable future. Is it going to be completely unaffected? No way. People that are saying or talking about, no, Throne Liberty will be fine, or Lost Ark will be fine. No, it won't be completely fine. These are massive layoffs, which means huge letdowns for games like Throne Liberty and Lost Ark, and it's definitely going to affect us. Just we might not see it now, but we're eventually going to be seeing it through the way it works. Like, especially Throne Liberty, you guys know the communication sometimes is there, sometimes it's not. Imagine if they lose even more employees, right? It's not going to be good for us. So that is what you guys need to know about Throne Liberty and Lost Ark. But what does this mean for other games? Because we do know a game called Lord of the Rings MMO is being developed by AGS, and that is the biggest problem. Because if the core developers are AGS and they got laid off, that means they don't have a developing team anymore. The people already on Twitter that said that they worked on the project of Lord of the Rings, there's more articles on this too. And they got asked about this in this article too from the same person, and they didn't immediately reply to request a comment about the game, which basically means that the game is most likely going to get shut down. They don't have the developers for it. The people that worked on it got laid off. And if you don't have developers, who's going to be working on the game? Nobody, right? The only way for the game to be released is if they invest in a new dev team, which they're not going to, because they're going to be focusing on AI more. So it's going to be like an AI slop if it does eventually release, or they could do something that they did to Blue Protocol. So as you guys know, Blue Protocol was also going to be published by Amazon, but then a completely different dev team took over and over the public side too. So that is also something that can happen to the Lord of the Rings MMO, is that a different company buys Lord of the Rings and then develop it. But I don't think Amazon is gonna let people do that, because they could do that with New World too. Let's be real. If they wanted to, they don't have to shut down New World. I am sure that there's a company out there that will take over New World and then most likely make it super pay to win or monetization or whatever. But Amazon is deciding that after 2026, they're just gonna shut down the game instead of giving it to a different company, right? So it seems like they don't want to get let go of the things that they develop, because there's definitely ways to get, good deals through other game companies that would love to take care of New World or Lord of the Rings MMO, but they're not going to let that happen. So the main thing that they're developing, that's GG. We're not going to be seeing any changes in that, but the game that they're publishing on, many things can happen right there. Either the publishing side will get weaker, or they're going to find new publishers, but it's not going to be that easy. It's not going to be that easy where everything is going to work fine for Throne Liberty and Lost Ark. I don't believe so. And I do think we will get affected in some type of way. Hopefully, my best hope for this is that we get new publishers, but then the publishers could decide to make the game, more monetization heavy or pay to win heavy, or could be even worse than AGS, because right now AGS is doing an okay job with the communication, but with the layoffs, it's not gonna good. Hopefully, you know, Tico and stuff keep their job, because at least we have some kind of communication. But we'll have to see. Check out this video right here. Let me know what you guys think about this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.